The ship may be in port for several days, during which time conditions can change dramatically. The deck watch must monitor the changing circumstances. As weather changes and temperature drops at night, regular checks are necessary to ensure the equipment remains safe and correctly rigged for all to use. Post notices if conditions change and present a hazard. Be aware of tidal surges and how this may affect the angle of inclination. Consider swells from the other ships passing and whether damage could occur. Make sure the number of people using the ladder at any one time is not hazardous and within the manufacturer's recommendations. Ensure the safety net remains tight at all times. Watch out for any obstructions ashore.
Pilot on board, sir.
Immediately before a ship departs, the access ladders are withdrawn and stowed. It is a good time to look for any damage or excessive wear. And repair that snag. And, as the voyage may include bad weather, the ladder and accessories must be stowed and secured with as much protection as possible.
Yes, Justin, that's the E&W inwards now.
Pilots navigate ships on arrival and departure. They need to embark and disembark while the ship is underway, often in difficult conditions. It is a hazardous operation, and there have been many accidents, often fatal, caused by defective equipment, lack of experienced ship's crew, and below standard safety procedures. So how best to carry out the operation requires forethought and planning. And, if there is any doubt, ask the pilot himself for his preferred method of boarding. Remember, the pilot's life is at stake, and if he is not content with your ship's arrangements, he can refuse, which will delay the ship's schedule and incur costs and penalties. There are several methods and techniques for pilot boarding, depending on the type and size of the vessel. Pilot ladders must be rigged around amidships, within the parallel body length of the ship and clear of any discharges. Pilot operations must be visible from the bridge, and deck officers familiar with the SOLAS regulations, Chapter 5, concerning pilot ladders and how they apply to their particular ship. For ships with a freeboard of less than 9 meters, a ladder of sufficient length, including allowance for all conditions of loading and trim, shall be installed on both sides of the ship approximately amidships and clear of any discharges.
Good afternoon. Welcome aboard, Mr. Pilot. Truly lovely weather. Truly indeed.
A correctly equipped lifebuoy and light must be mounted nearby. Pilot ladders are heavy, and it is advised that at least 2 crew members are needed to rig safely. The weight helps keep it stable and close to the ship's side in rough conditions. The normal construction is of uncovered, pre-stretched manila side ropes, with steps made from hardwood such as ash, oak, elm, or teak. Hand-hold stanchions are sometimes permanent, where a gate is used, but if there is no gate, they must be secured to the bulwark and able to withstand a person's weight. Each step must be horizontal, kept clean, and any proven method of clamping must not restrict a climber's handholds. Man ropes are attached only to the ship, but some pilots do not like man ropes, and their use should be checked with the pilot station or the pilot himself. Spreaders stop the ladder twisting. They must be built in as part of the ladder and not attached by lashings or shackles. They must be at most 8 steps apart, with the lowest spreader 5 steps from the end. The 4 lowest steps must be made of a non-slip rubber surface or other material of equivalent strength, stiffness, and durability. Once rigged, it must be tested by someone of sufficient weight and wearing the correct safety equipment. Check the specifications of the ladders aboard your ship and report any faults or damage. A responsible officer, trained in safety procedures and equipped with a radio, must always attend the pilot and offer any assistance. This is the most dangerous part of the access to a ship. And every part of the access system must be strong, secure, clean, and at night, well lit. For larger vessels, pilot boarding arrangements are more complex. For ships with a freeboard greater than 9 meters, it is normally necessary to combine an accommodation ladder with a pilot ladder. 2 accommodation ladders leading aft must be mounted on each side around amidships, within the parallel body length of the ship and clear of any discharges. The stanchions, handrails, and ropes must be fitted securely. It should be lowered to around 5 to 7 meters above the waterline, depending on conditions, local regulations and size of pilot boat. The angle of inclination must not be more than 55 degrees. The lower platform should be horizontal and rest firmly against the side of the ship. The pilot ladder must be securely attached at weather deck level and positioned immediately adjacent to the lower platform, with at least 2 meters extended above the platform. If the point of transfer is more than 2 meters below where it is secured, it may be necessary to lash the ladders to the ship's hull lashing points, designed for this purpose. It is not recommended to lash the ladders together. With final height adjustments made, check the ladder is safe for use. The pilot will not be wearing a safety harness. Sometimes, a pilot will request changes to the arrangements. But removing or fitting an additional piece of equipment using a pilot hoist or any change of arrangements must be agreed by both the captain and pilot. Transfer from one ladder to the other is a critical operation, and a responsible officer must assist the pilot and be prepared for any emergency.
Okay, Captain, the pilot is on the way. Okay, thank you.
After use, all equipment must be stowed securely and pilot ladders stowed out of the weather and not left exposed. Nothing should be taken for granted. The fact that a wire, shackle or seal was checked last week does not mean that it is still in good condition this week. Monitoring wear and tear and corrosion is vital to safety of life and good seamanship. Every part of the equipment needs to be checked. Winches and hoists need to be checked and greased as necessary. Inspect all wires, ropes, steps, and joints for any necessary adjustment, lubrication, cleaning, and replacement. Inspect those parts that are rarely exposed. Parts that have specified replacement dates must be replaced on schedule, and any defective parts must be repaired or replaced immediately. And, if not possible, a notice must be securely attached stating that the device must not be used and the reason given. Report and record all defects, and take the necessary steps to ensure that repair is carried out at the earliest opportunity. Accidents often happen when rules are ignored and common sense abandoned. To be a good seaman today requires absolute awareness and total professionalism. Be aware of the regulations. Always assess the risk. Understand the ladders on your ship. Apply manufacturer's maintenance and replacement schedules. Use the personal protective equipment and all their features. Make sure ladders are rigged correctly with a safety net strung between ladder and vessel. Look for signs of corrosion or damage. Ensure the ladder and rigging is maintained. Keep ladders clean and tidy, and preferably inside. Ensure sufficient crew to deploy ladders. Make sure all arrangements are secure and test the assembly correctly. Ensure combination systems are rigged and tested properly. And monitor all operations and be prepared for an emergency. Consult the accompanying book and watch the video again as necessary.